everyone. I would like to start my speech by asking a simple question. When you hear the words Afghan women, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is the first image that comes to your mind? Probably oppression, the Taliban, child marriages, inequality, just like these pictures. You might also assume that Afghan women's oppression led them not to progress in their lives, accept their destiny the way it is, and become passive citizens. But let me tell you this. Despite all this oppression, despite all these limited opportunities, despite all these limited resources, Afghan women are resilient. They strive hard for a better tomorrow every day and progress nevertheless. And today, I'm going to show you that. I have lived in 6 different countries in my life. Now, you might be impressed and think to yourself, wow, so cool. Well, it might sound cool, but it was mostly out of necessity rather than choice. I was only 6 months old when my family was forced to flee from Afghanistan to seek refuge in neighboring countries of Tajikistan and Kazakhstan. Just like any other family in Afghanistan during the Civil War. And growing up in a foreign land prevented me from seeing many Afghan women and many Afghans in general. And that's why I believed, just like the rest of the world today believes, that Afghan women are weak, they are voiceless, and they have no agency. When I went to China to pursue my master's degree, I realized that their perspective on Afghanistan and Afghan women was the same perspective as I used to have when I was living outside of Afghanistan myself as a child. And I thought to myself, what can be the reason for this? And I realized later that one of the leading reasons is the media representation of Afghan women. Unfortunately, the portrayal and the images of Afghan women through the media are shown in a very one-sided perspective about them. And because of this, I faced a number of challenges in China. The first challenge that I faced is what I call a handshake challenge. You might be wondering, what is it? It started on the first day at my university when a fellow classmate, he gave me his hand for a handshake. I was surprised because I thought everyone knows that a practicing Muslim woman wears hijab and doesn't shake hands with men. And whenever I would not shake hands with men, I would feel that people would associate my choice with my oppression because I was coming from Afghanistan. My struggles as an Afghan woman, they're continued. Whenever I would introduce myself and say I am from Afghanistan, I would get surprised looks. Sometimes people saying, wow. Or there was one time in a coffee shop when a man asked where I was from, and when I said I'm from Afghanistan, his response was, you don't look like Afghan. You don't look like Taliban. Another challenge that I faced was the nature of conversations. The conversations would start with the Taliban, with the child marriages, with the oppression. And I don't blame these people at all, because this is how the media is showing to them. This is how Afghanistan is shown to them, and this is the only narrative that they have heard before, perhaps. But as an Afghan, it hurt a lot, because people only knew one side of the story. They only know one side of Afghanistan, shaped by the media. But it also gave me an opportunity to educate people about my country, about my Afghanistan, and about the amazing people that live there. I shared with them about my experiences of what caused me to change my perspective about Afghan women, and today I'm going to share with you here as well. And for that, let me take you back to my high school years. I mentioned at the beginning that I grew up in different countries. But in 2009, when the situation was improving in Afghanistan, my family decided to move back to our homeland. And it was then that I interacted and saw Afghan women, and I saw the real culture of Afghanistan and the real Afghanistan. The strength of Afghan women inspired me on the first day. The first Afghan woman, superwoman I would call her, was my aunt. I witnessed how would she leave her home early in the morning to provide for her 6 children and for her husband who was addicted to drugs, all without the help of the community. I learned how she manages a household, how she solves her own problems, how she struggles and perseveres on a daily basis. Regardless, whenever she talks to you, she has a big smile on her face. Looking at her, I realized that all these years I had a wrong image of Afghan women in my mind, shaped by the media. And I also learned quickly that the experiences like my aunt's were not unique, but instead were very common to thousands of women across Afghanistan. This was the time I knew that I wanted to show the strength and the resiliency of Afghan women to the world, as I witnessed how they bear the burden of caretaking, providing, and leading in their communities, all without adequate support from those communities or from international actors in Afghanistan. This time was again the time when I decided to fight for women's rights in Afghanistan and show the bravery and the resiliency of Afghan women to the world. And while still in high school, I started writing for local newspapers and international outlets about women's problems in Afghanistan. I also started volunteering for national and international organizations, furthering the fight for women's rights in Afghanistan. At the Afghan Women's Writing Project, I worked with incredible Afghan women from all the 34 provinces of Afghanistan, and I would witness and I would see how much passionate they were in bringing positive changes in themselves and in their communities, in their families. Despite having a million other problems to deal with, they were committed in joining our programs. One of the most difficult experiences of my life that I will never forget, that to this day is both a scar and a symbol, took place in 2016. As I was a student at the American University of Afghanistan, the Taliban attacked my undergraduate university. The Taliban killed 15 students and staff and injured more than 40 people. As a result of the attack, the university was closed, and many didn't think that it would reopen. After 7 months of renovation, it reopened, and 95% of students were back. It was not easy for students to come to classrooms that were once covered in blood, to refresh their memories of all the people that they lost, their classmates, their teachers, and their friends. But despite bitter moments, despite all these challenges, not only education prevailed, but they continued. They continued, and they did not give up. My dear friend, Barashna, who is also known as Afghanistan's Malala, she was shot twice during the attack. She lost her leg. She couldn't walk anymore, but she did not give up. She continued. She persisted. And we all graduated, despite all these challenges. During the graduation ceremony, when Birshna went up on stage to receive her diploma, it was such a beautiful and powerful scene of resistance. It was very beautiful that I could not stop my tears. It was also another moment that made me realize that women like Birshna are a true symbol and a true representative of Afghan women. Powerful, unstoppable, fighters, and leaders. And so later, I got more and more involved in women's rights issues for Afghan women. In working with Afghan women and with different women's rights organizations in Afghanistan, I learned that one of the leading challenges that women are facing in Afghanistan and the rest of the world is their financial dependence on their male members of their families. I think it affects more Afghan women because the literacy rate is less than 30%. And I also noticed that Afghan women are very talented, and you will find at least one tailor in each household who knows how to make clothes, but they lack job opportunities because there was no market for it. Noticing that, I created a social enterprise to fill that gap and create job opportunities for the illiterate women in Afghanistan. And in 2018, my friend and I created Ayat, Afghanistan's first clothing brand focused on modest fashion with fair prices. We aim to empower illiterate women through fashion and provision of job opportunities. Women in Afghanistan are problem solvers. They have limited resources, they have limited opportunities, but they always try to make the best out of whatever resource that they have. We have a lot of examples of them, and it is hard to choose which one to tell first. But I'll tell you a few examples here. A great example is the Afghan robotics team, a group of 5 female high school students who created ventilators out of Toyota car parts during the COVID-19 pandemic to treat the coronavirus patients. Pashtana Durrani, an education activist who created a STEM school for girls aged 13 to 18 after the Taliban banned girls from going to school. Sara Bahai, the first taxi driver in Mazar Sharif. Zarifa Ghafari, a brave female mayor in Maidan Wardak province of Afghanistan, who, despite receiving death threats on a daily basis and challenges, continued working till the last breath. Sara Wahedi, a brave tech CEO who created an app that keeps Afghans informed and safe. They are the new generation of Afghan women and girls. They are the future of Afghanistan. They are the leaders in their communities. These are the brave Afghan women. And these are the kind of stories that we should be talking about and that you should be seeing on the news. As I completed my master's degree in China, I continued spreading awareness about Afghanistan. And so when I returned back home, I created Chadari. Chadari, the literal meaning of Chadari is blue burqa. Again, your question might be, why blue burqa? The reason why I named it blue burqa is because of the stereotypical images of Afghan women that are always shown in the media, that women with blue burqa and no agency. The mission of the project is to dispel the stereotypes that surround the diverse experiences of Afghan women through highlighting the stories of those women by sharing their stories directly from those women. and not someone else writing about them, but hearing from themselves. The purpose of Chaudhary is to let the world know that Afghan women come from diverse sets of backgrounds. They are educated, they are uneducated, they are with blue burqa, they are without blue burqa. But in our perspective, they're all powerful, they're all brave, and they are problem solvers and leaders in their communities. We believe every Afghan woman is a strong woman. And so Chaudhary is a platform, is a storytelling platform that gives an opportunity for these women to share their stories of achievements, of their struggles, of their challenges, and of their stories of bravery. I started this as a passion project, but now we are a team of more than 50 passionate volunteers working on different Chaudhary initiatives, including sharing global storytelling stories on the global stage, and also sharing the educational opportunities with the Afghan women and youth. Contrary to what the media is showing us, as people, as victimized people, we have to reclaim that narrative. We face challenges on a daily basis. We struggle on a daily basis, but we are not passive victims. We are actively trying hard to change the status quo. I would like to end my speech by sharing a poem by one of the talented writers of my project, Shazia Ahmadi from Kabul. I am an Afghan woman. My opinion is my veil of beauty. My wounds decorate me shoulder to toe like a ball gown. My pride adorns me like a beautiful jewelry. My power protects me like a shoe that is carefully made. My crown shouts my Afghanism out loud like the sound of lighting in the heart of the sky. I am an Afghan woman. This poem has shown us that the past 50 years in Afghanistan has proven that no matter what, the sparkle in our eyes, the hopes in our hearts, and the resilience in our blood will never fade away. Thank you very much.